Good evening, friends. So, doing great, studying hard, taking proper breaks, keeping your mind rejuvenated, also having a proper schedule, a discipline, not only for studies. When we say discipline, it is for every part of your day-to-day life. See, as a professional, be it any field, our field of professional education, or a sportsman, or a film celebrity, or a business tycoon, everywhere discipline is the key. Last time I was speaking about balance. Today I'm talking about discipline. So, discipline is not only about your work. See, discipline is not merely a habit, discipline is the way how you approach life. Like if you watch the movie 1, 2, 3 Kid or Kung Fu Kid, in both these movies, the latest one is where Jackie Chan is the coach. He says, Kung Fu is not something which you learn. Kung Fu is life. So, in everything that you do in life, the very basic aspects of bathing, the very basic thing of removing your jacket, a very basic thing of how you stand, how you walk, everything is Kung Fu. What it means? It means that in everything there is a discipline of how to do, when to do, and in what proportion to do. When you follow this discipline of life, or in words of Jackie Chan, Kung Fu, your everything becomes a very beautiful experience. And most importantly, whatever you do, the output is exemplary. So, with this opening words for today, I give you a thought process of discipline. Let us call it as Kung Fu in the words of Jackie Chan. So, Kung Fu is not something which you will learn or practice. Kung Fu is life. So, similarly, when you're talking about your day to day discipline as a professional student, it has to be in every aspect of your life, right? Chalo then. With this, let me start today's deliberation. So, very good evening, Surinder, Karan, Akhila, Divya, Sridhar, Harshal, Pavan, Tanmay, Veerashri, Aditya, Lavanya, everyone. Very good evening. Satish. Yes. Now, before I proceed with today's topic or I start deliberating on today's topic, let us first take your queries, your doubts, if any, in any of the previous topics. And then I will take you to this very beautiful topic of time of supply.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yes, Harshal, please go on.
Sir, page number 5.101.
Hmm.
On that 22 number service by an unincorporated body or a non-profit entity. In
Yes,
that entry number 77.
yes, please
I
read.
have doubt for that. If such nature of service provided by a group of individuals who are not registered under any law, is it exempted, sir?
Let us see why this question. I did not understand why you are having this question. It is very clearly given, Nabita, over there. Why you are having this doubt? Tell me. It is so clearly given over there. What is given over there? You are asking me the same question. So I don't know what to answer. It is clearly given there, na?
It means exempted, sir. No?
But so we are reading the exemption list only, na? So
Yes,
whatever is given over there is what is exempted only, na?
yes, sir.
Correct, na?
Correct, sir.
Yes. Yes, Karan.
Good evening, sir.
Very good evening,
Sir,
beta.
can you explain that business facilitator entry number 35?
See, I had explained it in the previous class. I'll repeat. Who is a business facilitator? You'll find that the entries mainly for two businesses. One is bank, one is insurance. So let us take example of a bank. Now I am ICICI Bank. I want to set up a branch in some rural area. Now, rural area people are not very conversant with the concept of bank. They are not comfortable keeping their money somewhere else. They are not having that confidence. So what I do is I go to that village. I find an influential person to whom everybody pays respect or to whom everybody listens to, and that person I appoint. Now, see, business facilitator in very crude language can be an agent also, but here it is not purely an agent. It is like a person who helps you, who facilitates you in setting up your business, your branch over there. So I will take that person, that influential person. I will ask that person to go and meet different sections in the village to different families, will explain them the benefit of banking, and then the person will say that, see, this bank is starting its branch. You open your accounts, you keep your money deposited, you will get interest. You have lockers, you keep your valuables over there, you get safety, security. So this is what is the role of a business facilitator. So helping a business, facilitating means helping a business grow by expanding in different places. Is this fine, Bada?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Perfect. Yes, Nisha.
सर ये आपसे सर हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट है सर, आप क्वेश्चंस भी कराया करो सर, जैसे चैप्टर ओवर हो जाए
कौन से
थोड़ा।
question?
सर मतलब कोई भी जैसे क्वेश्चन मतलब इस चैप्टर की रिलेटेड हो सर, सर
बेटा
थोड़ा
तो
मतलब।
सुनो ना बेटा, आपके हर क्वेश्चन के नीचे क्वेश्चन आंसर्स हैं। क्या हो जाता है बेटा, मेरा जितना सिलेबस है अगर मैं वो पूरा कंप्लीट करने जाऊंगा तो जैसे हर बार हो रहा है कि वी आर जस्ट कंप्लीटिंग द सिलेबस, मेनी टाइम्स सम टॉपिक्स आर कैरीड फॉरवर्ड टू द नेक्स्ट क्लास आल्सो, राइट? सो इसलिए मेरा रिक्वेस्ट है बेटा, हर एक चीज आपके पास मॉड्यूल में नीचे दी है, क्वेश्चन और उसका आंसर। आप एक बार आपके एंड पे एज अ रिवीजन पढ़ो ना, और आप मुझे कितने भी डाउट्स पूछो, आई एम रेडी टू आंसर योर डाउट्स। क्योंकि मैं क्वेश्चन आंसर कराऊंगा मतलब मैं क्या करूंगा, मैं वहां पे वो क्वेश्चन पढ़ूंगा, उसका आंसर आपको पढ़ के वापस वही एक्सप्लेन करूंगा। सो वो आप एक बार खुद के एंड पे करो अगर आपको, क्योंकि सी जब तक कोई प्रैक्टिकल चैप्टर नहीं स्टार्ट हो रहा है तब तक मुझे ऐसा सॉल्व करके आपको दिखाना नहीं है। वही क्वेश्चन है, उसका थियरी आंसर है, और जो ऊपर के किसी एंट्री में है। तो आप एक बार वो क्वेश्चन आंसर आपके एंड पे पढ़ो, और वहां पे आपको जो भी क्वेरी आती है कि सर ये क्वेश्चन का आंसर नहीं समझा या ये क्वेश्चन नहीं समझा, आई एम देयर टू एक्सप्लेन ईच एंड एवरीथिंग बेटा।
सर मतलब
आर यू
क्वेश्चन
गेटिंग माय
कैसे
पॉइंट?
लिखते हैं ना सर, कैसे लिखते हैं ये चीज होती है ना, मैटर करती है तो वो।
तो बेटा वहां पे आंसर आंसर जब दिया हुआ है तो आपको पता है ना कैसे लिख रहे हैं। आपने वहां पे क्वेश्चन का आंसर पढ़ा तो आपने देखा ना कि उन्होंने आंसर कैसे लिखा। सी आई टेल यू जनरल रूल। आप लॉ पढ़ रहे हो, आप ऑडिट पढ़ रहे हो, आप टैक्सेशन पढ़ रहे हो, यानी मैंने चार सब्जेक्ट्स कवर कर दी, एक लॉ, एक ऑडिट और दो टैक्सेस। इन चारों में जब भी थियरी क्वेश्चन आता है, थियरी क्वेश्चन में बहुत रेयरली आपको क्वेश्चन आएगा कि डिफाइन दिस या एक्सप्लेन दिस, जिसको मैं बोलता हूँ स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड थियरी। वो इस लेवल पे बहुत रेयरली आएगा। वो आएगा तो आपको मालूम है, अगर वो बोलता है डिस्टिंग्विश बिटवीन तो आपको डिस्टिंग्विश बिटवीन लिखना है, डेफिनेशन तो डेफिनेशन लिखना है। पर यहाँ पे वैसा नहीं आता। यहाँ पे काफी बार ऑब्जेक्टिव टाइप ऑफ थियरी आता है, या जिसको मैं बोलता हूँ एप्लीकेशन बेस्ड थियरी। व्हाट इज एप्लीकेशन बेस्ड थियरी? वो आपको एक एग्जांपल देते हैं जिसको हम बोलते हैं केस स्टडी, और उस एग्जाम्पल में वो आपको पूछते हैं ये टैक्सेबल है क्या, इसमें आरसीएम है क्या, ये एग्जम्प्ट है क्या। तो इसका आंसर हमेशा कैसे करना है? आपने जो लॉ पढ़ा है, वो लॉ में उस पॉइंट से रिलेटेड कौन सा पॉइंट आपको लगता है कि रेलेवेंट है जिससे आपका आंसर आएगा, तो वो सेक्शन, वो एंट्री, वो आरसीएम वाला पॉइंट आपको अपने शब्दों में, अपने वर्ड्स में लिखना है। और फिर सेकेंड पैराग्राफ में आपने लिखना है कि इस केस में ये बोला है, एंट्री में ये बोला है, ये दोनों मैच कर रहे हैं, हेंस इट इज एग्जाम। ये मैच नहीं कर रहे हैं, हेंस इट इज नॉट एग्जाम। तो अगर आप देखोगे तो जहां पे भी जो भी टॉपिक्स है वहां पे एप्लीकेशन बेस्ड जो क्वेश्चंस है, केस स्टडी क्वेश्चंस, in that the answers are written in this format. First you refer to the relevant provision which is applicable to your question, and then for that provision what is your final concluding answer related to the question you give it. समझा बेटा निशा? फिर भी
ओके।
जहां पे भी जिस लेक्चर में मुझे टाइम मिलेगा, डेफिनेटली आई विल कवर द क्वेश्चंस। अदरवाइज वी कवर इट इन अवर रिवीजन क्वेश्चंस, रिवीजन लेक्चर्स, बट स्टिल wherever I get time बेटा, in whichever topic I'll cover, but still my request is, अब तक जितने भी टॉपिक्स हुए, इनफैक्ट मैंने पिछले टॉपिक में किसी ने मेरे से पूछा था सर इसको याद कैसे करेंगे, तो मैंने तब भी कहा था कि आरसीएम या एग्जाम्पशन जिसमें बहुत सारे अलग अलग एंट्रीज है, उसको आप पहली बार 2 से 3 बार पढ़ो, सो दैट यू गेट नोन कि इसमें कौन कौन से एंट्रीज कवर्ड है। और फिर उससे रिलेटेड जो भी आपके पास पास्ट एग्जाम पेपर्स, एमटीपीज, आरटीपी और हर चैप्टर के नीचे जो टेस्ट क्वेश्चंस है, आप केवल उतना भी अगर सॉल्व करोगे, आपको वो चैप्टर याद रखना इजी हो जाएगा। तो आपको सॉल्व करना है, मतलब आपको यहां से फर्स्ट टाइम वो क्वेश्चन देखना है, उसका आंसर देखना है। सेकेंड टाइम से आपको सिर्फ क्वेश्चन देखना और आंसर खुद से प्रोविजंस याद करके, प्रोविजंस रिकॉल करके आंसर देना है। और कैसे लिखना है बेटा, वो अभी मैंने आपको एक्सप्लेन किया। सबसे पहले प्रोविजन लिखिए, आपको अपनी भाषा में लिखना है, लॉ की भाषा में लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है। और फिर गिवन क्वेश्चन में, गिवन केस में आपका प्रोविजन से क्या आंसर आ रहा है वो आपको एक्सप्लेन करना है। इज दैट फाइन बेटा?
सर नोट्स बनाने में भी सर काफी दिक्कत हो रही है, मतलब क्या ठीक है, मतलब ज्यादा एग्जांपल्स ही दे रखे हैं, मतलब बहुत ज्यादा दिक्कत हो रही है सर, नोट्स भी नहीं बना पा रहे
सुनो
हैं।
सुनो, नोट्स में मैंने आपको हर चैप्टर के अपने एक्सप्लेन कर का जो भी हैंड रिटन लिखा है वो शेयर किया है। आपको उसी तरीके से नोट्स बनाने हैं, आपको एग्जाम्पल्स नहीं लिखने नोट्स में। एग्जाम्पल आपके अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए है, उससे आपका अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्लियर होता है। वो सी ये अपना मॉड्यूल सबसे बेस्ट एक्सटेंसिव बुक है इस सब्जेक्ट का। तो आप जो भी सब्जेक्ट पढ़ रहे हो उसका मॉड्यूल इस तरीके से डिजाइन किया गया है कि आपको सबसे पहले टेक्निकल लॉ का लैंग्वेज, फिर उसको सिंपल लैंग्वेज, और फिर उसको सिंपल डे टू डे एग्जांपल्स देके एक्सप्लेन किया है, ताकि आपको कॉन्सेप्ट समझे। नोट्स बनाते वक्त आपको सब कुछ नहीं लिखना है, आपको केवल जो रिलेवेंट प्रोविजन है वो भी अपनी लैंग्वेज में लिखना है। जैसे काफी जगहों पे मैं ड्रॉ कर रहा हूँ, मैं एरोज बना रहा हूँ, काफी जगहों पे मैं सर्कल्स कर रहा हूँ। तो आपको उस तरीके से नोट्स बनाने, तो मैं अभी जब एक्सप्लेन करते हो कि जैसे लिखता हूं, आपके नोट्स वैसे ही बनेंगे बेटा।
ओके सर, ऐसे तो मैंने बनाए हुए हैं, लेकिन थोड़ा जैसे फेयरली, थोड़ा प्रॉपर वे में हो ना, उस तरह से मतलब बनाने की कोशिश
सुनो
कर रहे थे।
सुनो, एक चीज समझो। पहली बात, आज आपको मार्केट में रेडीमेड नोट्स मिल रहे हैं, जैसे मैं भी आपको यहाँ पे बना के दे रहा हूँ। इनको मत रेफर करो। मत रेफर करो मतलब इसको अपने नोट्स मत बनाओ फॉर एग्जाम्स। यू टेक आउट योर ओन नोट्स। व्हाई? बिकॉज when you take out your own notes by your hand, it will be more retained in your minds. आप मेरे नोट्स या और कोई भी जो स्टैंडर्ड नोट्स मिल रहे होंगे मार्केट में, अगर आप वो लेते हो, या जैसे हमारे मॉड्यूल में ही पीछे लेटेस्ट रिकैपिचुलेट दिया, आप वो रेफर करते हो, क्या होगा वो भी आपको अलग से लर्न करना है। इंस्टेड यू मेक इट इन योर मैनर, द मैनर इन विच यू आर अंडरस्टैंडिंग। उसको फेयर करना कोई जरूरी नहीं बेटा, ये अपने इंटरनल नोट्स है, अपने को किसको नहीं दिखाना है। और आप ये नोट्स बनाते बना के ही सीखोगे कि आपको नोट्स टेकिंग कैसे करना है, क्योंकि एज अ प्रोफेशनल ये आगे बहुत बड़ा आपका रिक्वायरमेंट रहेगा टू डू नोट्स टेकिंग। क्योंकि आपको हर चीज को शॉर्ट में कन्वर्ट करते आना चाहिए, इवन एज अ प्रोफेशनल। तो ये नोट्स टेकिंग आज वो जो आप डेवलप करोगे खुद का, दैट विल हेल्प यू इन योर करियर अलॉट। राइट?
यस सर।
फाइन बेटा।
ओके।
सो स्टूडेंट्स, लेट अस स्टार्ट। यस महक, सो संकेत जी प्लीज शेयर द टेलीग्राम ग्रुप लिंक। कोई बात नहीं, तो सर आप एक बार किसको पूछ के यहाँ पे शेयर कर देंगे। और एनी स्टूडेंट इफ यू हैव, यू प्लीज शेयर, बिकॉज महक इज आस्किंग, आई थिंक महक इज न्यू टू द बैच, सो शी इज नॉट हैविंग। और इन द मीन टाइम, हाँ, हमारे पास व्हाट्सएप नहीं सर, टेलीग्राम की तो लिंक है, क्योंकि लास्ट एक दो बार जब स्टूडेंट्स ने पूछा था तो वो शेयर किया था यहाँ पे। कोई बात नहीं, आप देख लीजिए। यस। सो स्टूडेंट्स, लेट अस स्टार्ट आवर टुडेज टॉपिक। द टॉपिक is named as time of supply. In short, we will call it as TOS. Prior to this, the topic that we studied was POS, that is place of supply. So place of supply was the destination. Now, what is time of supply? Time of supply, I will say, is the date on which you become liable to pay GST. So basically, what is time of supply or TOS? It is the answer of this. What you get in time of supply is the date. Like in case of place of supply, the answer that you get is the state or the city in which your supply's destination is, right? Or in which your supply's consumption is. So in place of supply, your answer that you get from the place of supply provisions is the name of the city or the state. Similarly, in this chapter, the answer that you get from these provisions is the date. Which date? The date on which your transaction, your supply becomes taxable. Or I will say not becomes taxable, it means it becomes payable. So once your supply is liable to GST as per all the previous topics, like first, whether it is supply, whether it is leviable to GST, whether it is exempt or not. Once you cross all these chapters, now comes the date on which your supply will become taxable. Now you'll say, sir, why this question comes of when the supply becomes taxable? Why we need to find out the date? So let us understand the reason why you require a transaction. Now look at it from your accounting perspective, you'll understand. A transaction may have different dates. Now, when you have different dates, please remember in GST, majorly the tax is payable monthly and in few cases quarterly. For the time being, we'll keep quarterly aside because it is applicable to very less number of people. So mainly it is monthly. Now, if your transaction is spread over multiple months, then the question comes as to what is the date on which the GST is payable. I'll say, sir, how can my... So let us say you purchase, or I will use the word you place order online, right? This order is placed on 26th of Feb 26. Then the goods are delivered or dispatched by them. So you place order online. The order through the portal goes to the respective supplier. The supplier packs the goods, or first, if the goods are not available in stock, brings the goods, and then once the goods become available in stock, packs and makes it ready. So let us say it is 6th of March, right? And the payment of this happens on 5th of April when the goods reaches you, because it is COD, that is cash on delivery. Now, this is a very simple day-to-day life example. So let us say I order a special jacket through Amazon app. This I have placed order on 26th Feb when I got a good deal. This order through Amazon went to the respective supplier. The supplier is sitting somewhere in Punjab, but the goods are not available. Once the goods becomes available, the supplier does packing. Many times the supplier may be sitting outside India. So when I'm making placing an order through Flipkart or Amazon or any of these apps, maybe the supplier is a foreign supplier. So the supplier dispatches the goods on 6th of March after the goods becomes available. And whatever time it takes to transport, it reaches me on 5th of April when I make the payment. Now, in all these cases, if you see, the same transaction is spread over different months. So for the same transaction, different things in the same transaction are happening on different dates, right? Now this is transaction for goods. And I'll give you transaction for services. Now in case of service, again, you may have different dates. What is the date? Let us say you appoint me for conducting audit. So I start my audit. Or let us say even before that. Now you'll study this in Companies Act and audit. You appoint me as the auditor. This happens on 4th of January 26. I start audit on 21st Feb 26. Audit is completed on 10 March 26. Then I give invoice on 5th April 26. And let us say one more, you make payment on 15th June 26. Now here, interestingly, even the financial year is changing, right? Now the question is, out of these dates, on which date are we supposed to pay the GST? This answer you get from this time of supply. Now in both these cases, these are straightforward transactions. Now I'll give you an example of another interesting type. Continuous supply. Now in about two cases, the example was of one single supply. Now what is continuous supply? Again, I'll give you an example of goods. Now, many examples, electricity, gas, right? All these are supplied to you on daily basis or on recurring basis. So every day, whenever you or switch on any equipment, you are being supplied these goods. And this is happening continuously, regularly. Now, today you consume some gas or electricity, the company does not give you bill immediately. Now, depending upon their policy, some company, like in case of electricity, are giving bill monthly. Some are doing quarterly, like in case of gas, the billing is quarterly. So one is billing, one is continuous supply, which is happening daily. So this happens every day in some quantity. This happens on a particular date, right? And then again, the payment where you are given a due date after the bill is received. So again, for continuous supply of goods, there are different dates. Again, these dates may be falling in different months, in different periods. On which date you have to discharge GST? Another example of continuous supply of services. N number of examples. First is our present coaching. The batch starts, let us say, in Jan 26 on 5th. Every day you are attending some class, so some services being provided. So there is a continuous supply every day. Then the batch ends, let us say, on 25th April. And let us assume there is payment which is done periodically, or maybe at the start, or maybe at the end, or maybe after the end. So there are so many examples where you are consuming service on a daily basis, on a recurring basis, on a regular basis, but billing is done once. Such examples are continuous supply. Now, whether it is a single supply, one transaction, or it is a continuous supply, or then there are some special cases of supply that we are going to see. In all these cases, main question is to decide on which date you are liable to GST. Because in that month, once you freeze that, okay, for example, in this case, you become liable on this date, for example. Similarly, in this case, you become liable on this date, for example. So in such cases, you will come to know, okay, I have to pay tax in April. Here I have to pay tax in March. So accordingly, you will be disclosing these transactions in your GST return. And in that month, or if it is quarterly, in that quarter, you will go and pay the GST. Tomorrow, if you fail to pay this GST in the right month or quarter, again, the interest which the government will be charging will be on the basis of this month or quarter. So this is what is the relevance, this is what is the importance of time of supply. I hope this part is clear to everyone. Right, students? So firstly, I hope everybody understood what is time of supply. So it will give you the date on which you have to discharge your tax, the date on which you become liable to pay tax. Second, why you need time of supply? Because if you see the accounting of any transaction, the accounting is spread over multiple periods. When the accounting is spread over multiple periods, it is important for you to identify in which period, month or quarter, your liability is crystallizing, your liability is taking place, so that in that month or quarter, you can go and pay your tax. That is what is the purpose, that is what is the objective of this whole concept of time of supply. Fine, students? So if anybody has any questions till this point, you may ask, or else we proceed with the provisions, the sections where the time of supply is given. Okay, students are saying understood, understood. Good. Yes, Michael, but tell me.
Yes, sir. If we raise the invoice, so we need to pay the amount, correct? So then
Nay, one second, one
after,
second, one second, one second. The raising of invoice is a different chapter. Paying of GST is a different chapter. So when you say raising of invoice, we will study later in another topic relating to documents and records as to when you become liable to raise the invoice. Again, that we are going to study even today in this topic because this topic has some connection with that. But the point is, when to raise invoice is a different concept and when to pay GST is another different concept.
okay, sir. So pay the GST and filing GST are both are same or no, sir?
Paying GST and no, again, see, GSTR is the return. GST and R stands for returns. So filing of returns
Okay.
is monthly, quarterly. And when you file the returns, see what is filing of returns? You have to disclose in that return that, okay, in this month, I have done so much of supply. Hence, in this month, I will be liable to pay this tax. Now, in which month you are liable to pay tax, that depends upon this time of supply. Now, in whichever month your time of supply is falling, in that month's returns, you will disclose that supply. But see, when you talk about GSTR, that is GST returns, again, GST returns may also disclose many of these transactions. Like today, I have received advance. I may or may not be liable to pay GST in this month, but I have to show the advance first. Then in the month in which I will raise the invoice, I'll have to show the invoice. So GSTR is though connected with payment, but payment and GSTR is again two different things.
But in this chapter, we are need to study only the GST payable.
Perfect. Perfect.
Payable
Now,
on which date?
on the basis of date of invoice, we will decide GST payable. But what is when you have to raise invoice is a different chapter.
Okay, sir.
Fine.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Understood.
Perfect. Anybody else, students, having any doubts? Should I proceed? Yes, Aditya.
Sir, I don't understand the services of appoint as an auditor. Audit.
Sorry, can you please repeat?
The services, I don't understand the appoint as auditor 4th January. I can't understand what that it says that scenario.
But I did not get your question.
The second services appoint as
Yes.
auditor.
I'm giving you an
But
example. This is an example that on this date in the meeting of the shareholders, they appointed you as the auditor. Fine. So now what is your question? Then after appointment, you start your audit. Then on this date, your audit is complete. On this date, you give the invoice. On this date, you receive the payment. So I'm just
okay,
informing
sir.
you that in every transaction, there could be different dates on which different things are happening. Now, what is the importance of time of supply? Out of these dates, on which date you have to pay tax, that the time of supply provision tells you. This is what is my point. Now, what is your doubt?
Okay, okay, sir. I understand, but I can understand, sir. What is that?
Understood, na?
Understood, sir. Understood.
Perfect. Okay. So let us start. Now we have understood what is time of supply, why we are studying this chapter. So see, how our module explains time of supply, it is saying point in time when the liability to pay tax arise. I have simply changed this word with date because our answer over here will be date, right? So the date on which your liability to pay tax, the tax. Now, again, we have definitions. We'll come to the definitions as we require. Now, firstly, I'll just take one definition because I've already explained that. That is, what is the definition of continuous supply? Okay, it is not given here. Maybe it would be given later. Now, there are two sections which gives you time of supply. Section 12, it gives you time of supply for goods. And then you have section 13, okay, it will come later, which will give you time of supply for services. So, time of supply provisions. We are again reading CGST. Only place of supply is IGST. Everything else is CGST and obviously relevant SGST. Right? Now, TOS for supply of goods. This is given in section 12, and TOS for supply of services, this is given in section 13. Now within each of these sections, you have different subsections. Correct? So this is subsection 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now 1 in both cases is simple. What does 1 says? 1 simply says that time of supply is decided by this section. That's it. So 1 is simply saying time of supply will be decided by this section. This is what is given in subsection 1 of 12 and subsection 1 of 13. See, I will explain or I'll read. So there is no time of supply as such given in any of these subsection 1s. It is only saying the liability to pay tax shall arise at the time of supply, and this is determined as per the provisions of this section. So simply it is saying that on which date you have to pay tax, that is decided by time of supply. So liability to pay decided by TOS. Same. Liability to pay decided by TOS. Simple, right? Okay, there is something in the chat. Satish Bada, continuous supply, once we come back, you will understand. I just gave you a simple example. We'll come back to the provision in detail once we go to that particular point, right? Okay, fine. So subsection 1 is effectively not giving you anything specific. Now subsection 2, this is for forward charge cases. Subsection 3, this is for reverse charge cases. Subsection 4. This is for supply of vouchers, which is now not applicable. Subsection 5, which deals with cases where you are not able to determine time of supply. And subsection 6, time of supply to the extent it relates to an addition in value of supply. So these are the various provisions. 1 second. Yes, I should not write subsection 4 because anyways it is removed. Let me call it as 5 and 6. 5 and 6. Now TOS for forward charge transactions. Correct? Subsection 3, TOS for reverse charge transactions. Subsection 5, where TOS cannot be determined. And subsection 6 is TOS for interest on late payment. So these are the various provisions, right? Now we have to start with one provision at a time. So section 12 bracket 2, which deals with TOS for forward charge transactions. Please remember, we are talking about supply of goods, not service right now. Now within this, you have some subparts. Or I'll make a table. So TOS is earliest of. So first column in the table is TOS is earliest of which dates. Then what are the categories here? Regular transactions, continuous supply of goods transactions, and third is a special case, goods sent on sale on approval or sale or return basis. So what is the time of supply given? Time of supply, the answer is simple. Time of supply is always going to be earliest of the following dates. 1. Date of invoice. So whatever is the date on which invoice is prepared, and the date on which invoice should have been prepared as per section 31. So there is section 31 which you study in the topic of invoice, but we are going to see that section here indirectly, because what is your time of supply? Time of supply will be earliest of 2 dates. The date on which you have prepared the invoice and the date on which you should have prepared the invoice. Out of both these dates, whichever date is earlier, that is the time of supply. Now, interestingly, some time back, there was a third date, which was the date of receipt of payment. Now, this rule is no more applicable when we talk about supply of goods, which is under forward charge. So earlier this date was also to be checked. So earlier the time of supply was earliest of 3 dates. Now it is earliest of 2 dates, right? Now there are 3 types of transactions: regular transactions, continuous supply of goods, and goods sent on sale on approval basis or sale or return basis. Now for these 3 category of transactions, what is the provision saying? Now this is DOI, that is date of invoice. Now there is nothing to be seen. This date would be given that invoice is issued on XYZ date. What is the date on which the invoice should have been issued? So the law says invoice should have been issued on the date of delivery or dispatch of goods. So the date on which the supplier has sent the goods from his premises, that is the date of preparing invoice. Now, let me give you an example of this. As I was giving you example of online transaction. So you make online purchase. Now, firstly, is online purchase continuous supply of goods? Answer is no. Is it on goods sent on approval basis? Let us say it is not. Right? Now, in such cases, I'll give you an example like a case study. So, date of placing order. So you have placed order online. It is on 28th of February 26. Then date of invoice. So the supplier prepared invoice on 4th of March 26. Date of dispatch. On which date he removed the goods from his godown? It was 12th of March. And the date of receipt of goods at your house plus the date of payment. Both are 4th of April 26. Now, in this example, this is a real life example which we experience regularly. You have placed order on this date. The supplier receives the order through the online app. The supplier arranges the goods, packs the goods, and prepares invoice on this date. But let us say there is some holiday for some reason. So he actually dispatches the goods from his premises on this date, and the goods reach your home at this date. Now, when we have to see the time of supply, what we have to see which date is the date on which the liability to pay tax will arise. Now, in this particular case, we have to see earlier of 2 dates, date of invoice and the date on which invoice should have been prepared. So date of invoice is, this is one relevant date, and the date on which invoice should have been prepared, this is another relevant date. But these 2 dates are of no use to us because the law does not ask you to check these dates. So you should also know which dates are not relevant, because in the exam, they will purposely give you multiple dates, like date of placing order, on which you place order, the date on which invoice is prepared, dispatch is made, goods are received. It may also happen that on placing of the order itself, you have made payment, possible, right? So many times you have to first make payment, like in certain apps, and then only order is placed. So in those cases, it is payment is here. In some cases, it is cash on delivery, so payment is here. Whatever is the case, what is important is, in case of forward charge transaction for supply of goods, the date of placing order or payment, or the date of receiving the goods or the payment, both are not important, so I have put across. Now, the only 2 dates that are relevant is the date which is printed on your invoice and the date on which invoice should have been prepared, which, as per the rule given in section 31, is the date of dispatch. Now for you, the time of supply is earlier of 2 dates. So the time of supply is these 2 dates. So finally, my answer for time of supply over here in this case would be this date. I hope this is clear to all students. Anybody having any questions in this particular case, which I have explained? Yes, Nisha, beta.
Sir, you said earlier of 2 dates means
दोनों
date
में
of
से जो
invoice.
पहले है वो, जो दोनों में
Sir,
से पहले है. Sorry, I have made a mistake here. Thank you for
sir,
highlighting.
it will
is
be
not the
4th March.
yes. I'm sorry.
Okay, sir.
It is 4th March, not this date. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Earliest of these 2 dates, so it is 4th March in our example. Yes. Is this fine, students? Is this clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Now we'll read it from here, what is given. So let us read the law also. So 2 sections you have to refer. One is section 31, which is on which date invoice should be prepared. But before that, I will take you to the main provision of time of supply. Now, what does section 2 says? The time of supply of goods shall be earlier of 2 dates: date of issue of invoice or the last date as per section 31 to issue the invoice. So the date on which invoice is issued or the date on which invoice should have been issued. Now, both these dates are given in clause A only, and clause B says date on which you receive the payment. But as I said, this is no more applicable. Why? So here see, you have given a footnote number 3. Practically, in case of goods, the date of receipt of payment is no longer a criterion. Why? That you'll read in analysis. Originally, it was there in the law, but by way of a notification in November 2017, that is in the first year of GST, they have removed this date. Remove means they have made this date inapplicable. So for the time being, this date is not to be seen. So the 2 dates that you have to see is date of invoice and the last date to issue the invoice. Now, how to decide which is the last date to issue the invoice? For this, you refer section 31. Now, when you go to section 31, you will get to see that what is the last date to issue invoice. Now, here there are 3 types of transactions. First is the regular transaction. Then you have continuous supply. And then you have goods which are sent on approval or return. Sale on approval or a return basis. Now, firstly, for this first type of transaction, what is the date by which invoice should have been made? It is the date on which the goods are removed, on which you are delivering the goods. So that is why I've written in simple words the date of dispatch, the date on which you are removing the goods, the date of delivery or dispatch. This is the date as per 31 when you should have prepared the invoice. So the invoice should be prepared by this date. And the second date that has to be checked is the actual date of invoice. The third date, which was there in clause B, is now not applicable. How it is not applicable, I'll give you the notification, we'll read it. But for the time being, keep that aside. So what is the point? The point is we have to see whichever is earlier of 2 dates, date of actual invoice and the date on which invoice should have been prepared, which is either removal of goods or delivery of goods. Correct? Provided that the government may, on recommendation of council, specify the category of goods in respect of which tax invoice shall be issued within such time and in such manner as may be prescribed, that you can leave aside for the time being. Correct? Now see, let us go to the analysis. Now this is that notification. As I said, it is of November 2017. What this notification has done, the time of supply of goods for the purpose of payment of tax is the date of invoice or the last date of invoice. That's it. Because this notification has removed the point which is given in clause B, which is the date of payment. So because of this notification, now you don't have to check the date of payment. That is what is the impact. So what is written? Notification number 66/2017. So I'll just write it here. Right. So as per notification number specifies that a registered person excluding composition dealer and registered person taking supply of actionable claim should pay GST on outward supply of goods at the time specified in 12(2)(a) only. So 12(2)(b) has been, for the time being, removed by this notification. So you don't have to see 12(2)(b). 12(2)(b) is the date of payment. Correct? So that is how this date of payment point is no more applicable. Dated 15th November 2017. Because of which we are not going to see the date on which payment is made, because it is now, for the time being, not made applicable. Right? Clear, students? So here some examples are given. Now, since the date of payment is not applicable, we are not seeing the meaning for the time being. Right? So you can, for the time being, ignore this part. Why? Because if the payment date is not relevant, why you will see the meaning of payments? That we will see when we are going to services. Now, what is the time limit for issuing invoice given under 31? We already saw. The invoice should be issued either on the date or before the date of removal, or on the date or before the date of delivery of goods. For continuous supply, we'll see separately. Right now, I'm not discussing continuous supply. So these two cases of continuous supply and of goods on approval basis that we are going to see in the next two cases. So for the time being, we are seeing only the first case, which is the regular transaction. So for regular transaction, what is the date by which the invoice should have been issued? The invoice should have been issued on or before the date of removal or delivery of the goods. Fine, students, everybody, everything clear? Anybody, any questions or doubts, please tell me. Fine. Now we come to the second category, continuous supply. Now what is continuous supply? I gave you example of electricity. I gave you example of gas. It is defined also over here. What is continuous supply? So continuous supply is defined as where the supply of goods is provided. How? Continuously, on recurring basis. And this is done under a contract. So we have a contract with our electricity company. We have a contract with our gas supply company where they are continuously supplying us gas. They are supplying us gas or electricity on a recurring basis. And the supplier will issue an invoice on a regular or a periodic basis. Now, generally, this is monthly, and in some cases, bi-monthly, that is for 2 months. In some cases, quarterly. So the supplier decides when the supplier will give invoice, but the invoice periodicity can be anything decided by the supplier. So it may be monthly, it may be bi-monthly, it may be quarterly. But supply is happening continuously on recurring basis, right? So because somebody was asking me, sir, what is the meaning of continuous supply? I gave you first example, firstly a practical example, and now I'm reading the definition. So keep electricity at the back of your mind, or nowadays we get this gas through our gas pipeline. Keep these two examples at the back of your mind. This will tell you what is continuous supply. This is the practical meaning of continuous supply. And now see the definition. So continuous supply is supply of goods which is provided, agreed to be provided on continuous basis or on recurring basis, right? And
सर इसके ऊपर की जो डेफिनेशन है एज पर सेक्शन 31(1) बिफोर एट द टाइम, उसके आपने जो राइट किया था वो क्या राइट किया था, मतलब साइड में जैसे आपने यहाँ पे मंथली और क्वार्टरली लिखा है।
रेगुलर ट्रांजैक्शन।
ओके सर, ओके फाइन।
क्योंकि हमारे पास 3 प्रकार के ट्रांजैक्शन है ना, रेगुलर, कंटिन्यूअस और अप्रूवल। सो वो रेगुलर ट्रांजैक्शन है। रेगुलर मतलब जो अपन रोज करते हैं, शॉप में गए, आपने कोई चीज खरीद के लाई, खत्म हो
ओके सर, अंडरस्टूड।
के पास, रेगुलर आ रहा है आपके पास। व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम विद इंटरनेट? शुड वी प्रोसीड नाउ? What is the rule given for continuous supply of service? Now, for continuous supply of service, again, the first date is the date of invoice. There is no change in this. The second date, as per 31, is the date by when the invoice should have been prepared. Now, what is this date by when the invoice should have been prepared? So it says, in case of continuous supply of goods, the invoice should be issued on or before or at the time of issuance of periodical statement or of receiving periodical payment. Now, what it means? Now, as I said, the supplier decides when the supplier will be issuing an invoice. In other words, when the supplier would be preparing your periodical statement. What is this periodical statement? See, the supplier has to calculate your supply, because every day when electricity is being sent, every day when gas is being sent, the supplier has to decide as to how much of gas is supplied, how much of electricity is supplied. So they check through the meters, and for this they have decided some periodicity. What is this periodicity? As I said, it may be in some cases monthly, some cases for 2 months, some cases 3 months, so that the supplier decides. So what is the date on which the invoice should have been issued? It is the date of the periodical statement. Periodical statement means this monthly, quarterly date which the supplier has decided as to how they are going to make your calculation. Right? Understood? So date of periodical statement or date of periodical payment. So this is the date by which the supplier should issue invoice. So your time of supply will be earlier of these dates: the date of actual invoice and the date by which the invoice should have been prepared. Understood, students? So, example of this. Now in this, I am taking example of electricity. So supply is happening every day, because every day you are consuming electricity. So it is a continuous supply first, correct? However, let us say contract says what? Billing is 45 days. Example, I'm just taking an example. It is generally monthly, but let us say it says 45 days. 45 days from when to when? From 1st of, let us say, Jan to 14th of Feb the billing will be for this period, it will be on 15th of Feb. Then for 15th of Feb to 31st March, it will be 1st of April. So let us say this is what the supplier says. We call it as your billing cycle. So this is the date of statement of accounts. That is when the supplier would be doing your hisab, when the supplier would be finding out how much supply has happened, right? And then comes date of invoice. So let us say we are talking about the first period where they have done your calculation, or they should do your calculation for every 45 days. So 45 days end on 14th of Feb. So they will do on 15th of Feb. In the second case, from 15th Feb to 31st March, they will do on 1st April. So in this case, the invoice is prepared on 20th of Feb. And let us say the payment that you are making is 5th of March. Now here, out of these dates, we have to take the earliest, this date we have to take earliest is TOS. Now out of these two dates, the earliest date is 15th of Feb. That is a date of periodical statement. So this is your time of supply for continuous supply of goods. Clear? Students, clear? Okay. All clear? Let us proceed.
Sir, I have one doubt.
Please tell me.
Sir,
Sir, in regular transaction also the same criteria, sir. You
No,
told.
beta, in regular transaction, you are given the criteria as the date of delivery of goods. If you can see the regular transaction, it is not the billing date. It is the date on which the goods are delivered or dispatched. Here, it is not the date of delivery because delivery is happening daily. So instead, here the date is the date when the statement has to be prepared. Are you getting the difference?
Okay, but regular transaction also the service is no goods. Okay, but electricity is comes under goods or service, sir.
Now you tell me. I have been explaining electricity and gas both since 1 hour. I'm taking this example. You tell me whether electricity and gas is goods or service. You feel it is service. Why? Because it is intangible. Is that your reason?
Yes, sir.
But that is not the case. We have so many things which are intangible. That is not the deciding factor. We have n number of judgments which says gas, electricity, even though intangible, they are goods.
So because these are day-to-day activities, so it will comes under
No,
goods.
it is not day-to-day activity. But first you are talking about goods or service. Day-to-day activity is making it continuous supply. Don't mix. First be clear what you are talking about right now. When you said day-to-day activity, this is to decide what?
Service or goods.
Better then it is not the correct criterion. Goods and service is not decided upon whether it is day-to-day activity or it is not day-to-day activity.
Okay.
There are so many things which are day-to-day activity, like internet is day-to-day activity, correct?
Yes, sir.
Is it goods or service?
Goods.
It is service. That is where the difference is.
Okay, sir.
So this is not the criteria of deciding whether it is goods or service, right?
Okay, sir. And the regular transaction, if we consider date of delivery and the date of invoice,
Correct.
whichever is earlier.
Yes. And
But
in
in
case of,
continuous supply,
you consider the date
continuous
of billing. Date
billing.
of billing means the date on which they will be drawing your statement of accounts, and the date of invoice, whichever is earlier.
Date of invoice, date of periodical statement, and date of periodical payment.
Yes.
3 dates, sir,
Yes. Yeah, here it is 3 dates.
on continuous supply. Okay.
Yes.
But you mentioned only two, sir, in that example, electricity example. First, 15th
Why?
Feb and 20th Feb.
Periodical, I have given this date of periodical payment, na beta.
Oh, okay, payment. So we need to consider 5th March also.
No, but here see.
5th March, 20th March, and 15th Feb.
Yes.
On these three dates, whichever is earlier, that is the continuous supply of
Correct.
date.
But that 5th March should
Okay.
be the periodical payment date. So it is either periodical statement or periodical payment.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Understood.
Fine. Yes, Nisha,
Yes,
beta.
sir.
Sir, this question only you said na 3 condition. So means in second periodical statement or periodical payment, anyone.
Yes, anyone.
Because in that which example that in which a 15th Feb and 20th Feb you have taken, but payment was done on 5th
But
March.
beta, that payment is not a periodical payment. See, what is a periodical payment? Like in continuous supply, what happens? They also decide that like how they are supplying your goods daily, you also have to make payment every week. Let us say some payment has to be done every week, a lump sum payment. That is what is periodical payment. But in practical, I have not found the cases of periodical payment. So that is why I have not covered the periodical payment in my example. So what is periodical payment? Every week you have to pay, let us say 1,000 rupees. So every day you are receiving the supply, every week you are paying 1,000 rupees. That is what is periodical payment. And every day you are receiving a supply, that is continuous supply. Are you getting the
Sir,
point?
yes, sir. Sir, if any example, if it is given that periodical payment also and periodical statement and
Then we
billing,
have to take earliest of all three.
all three. Okay, sir.
Fine.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Sushmita.
Sir, so here, so earlier when we were discussing as per notification, right? There we are saying that date of receipt of payment is
Not to be seen.
considered.
Yes.
So here's the continuous payment is different from that date.
Yes. Continuous payment, as I just explained, is where now see here, 5th, what is the payment you are doing? Here, 5th, the payment that you are doing is your final payment. Final payment means after they have given you the bill, after they have drawn the amount, you are making the payment. That is 5th. But we don't have to see the 5th date, right?
Okay.
That is why I have not marked it here. What is periodical payment, which is given in the law? Periodical payment is where the contract says like how I am giving you supply every day. So you also do one thing, every week you pay me 1,000 rupees. And then after 45 days, you will decide what is the outstanding. That is what is periodical payment, where you have to deposit a lump sum amount every periodic, like every week.
Okay.
But
So after that, we will get a
yes,
bill and then we will see how what is
yes,
the outstanding.
yes.
Oh.
But that is not considered in this example. In this example, what you are paying on 5th is your final payment. It is not periodical payment, right?
Okay. Okay, sir. Understood.
Yeah. Yes, Aditya.
Sir, in time of supply basis, what is the difference between reverse charge and forward charge, sir?
But there are different rules for reverse charge and forward charge. Right now, we are dealing with forward charge. After this, when I'll come to reverse charge transaction, you will see the different date for reverse charge.
Okay, sir. Date is same or different, sir?
But that's what I'm saying. No, the date is different. This is what I'm saying. We will study that in next subsection now when we'll go to reverse charge cases.
Okay, sir. Okay.
That is a different date for reverse charge.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Fine. That is why there is a separate subsection. See, I'm giving you the heading. What is the heading? TOS for forward charge transaction supply. Now, when I'll come to the next subsection, I will say TOS for reverse charge transaction supply of goods. So all are different cases. We'll study each case separately. Right now, we are in forward charge only. Right? Now coming to the third scenario, where goods are sent on approval basis. What is the date for TOS? Firstly, it is your date of invoice. Secondly, it is 60 days from date of delivery of goods and date of approval of sale. Now, out of these dates, whichever is the earliest is the time of supply. And I'll give you an example. Goods sent on approval basis. Now, I have placed order on 25th of Jan 26. Goods dispatched is 5th of Feb 26. Now, these are on approval basis. Now, I hope you'll understand what is approval basis. So I will receive the goods. I'll check the goods. Only if I find the goods as per my requirement, I will take the goods. So let us say what you have ordered. You have ordered a special type of machinery. In this machinery, you have put in your terms and conditions that I'll first run the machinery for some days. If I find the machinery as per my requirement, only then I will take the machinery. Now, you received the goods in your factory on 25th of Feb. Now, from here, you start using the goods. You start using that machine. Now, you have to give approval. Date of approval. Now, here I am taking two examples. Option 1, option 2. And then the last is date of payment. Let us say payment is 15th December 26. Now, what are the two options I am taking for approval? So let us say here it is. First is 15th of June 26. I have given the approval. Second is I have given approval on 25th September 26. Right? Now, for option 1, and then there is option 2. This date is not important. This date is not important. And for us, this date is also not important. Option 1, earliest of these two dates. Option 2, earliest of these two dates. Right? Answer is no. For option 2, even this date is not important. Why? I'll come to that. See what is given. It is said which two dates you have to check besides the date of invoice. It is 60 days from the date of delivery or the date of approval. Now, if your date of approval is after 60 days, automatically this date of approval will not be relevant. One second. It is not 60 days. Sorry, it is 60 days. It is 6 months. See. So invoice should have been issued either at the time of supply, which is the date of approval, or 6 months. So this is right here, 6 months. right? So out of this, you have to see which is your appropriate date. So see this example. So Phoenix Limited enters into a contract for 100 office chairs on 21st of August. Chairs are removed from the warehouse on 15th, along with the invoice on the same date. Joy Sales has 30% of the total contract on 21st August. Balance 70% will be on 10th of September. Now, payment is not important, so I'm not looking at payment. What is given? Since the invoice is issued on the date of removal, it is issued within the prescribed time limit, hence time of supply for the payment of entire contract value is this. Okay, no, I want continuous supply. Sale on approval basis example. Here that example is not given. So okay, sure. We'll take our own example because here they have not taken the example of this case. So in my example only, you have to check 6 months from the date of delivery of goods. Now, what is my date of delivery? Date of delivery in first option is 5th of Feb. Now, what is 6 months from 5th of Feb? So 6 months from 5th of Feb is 5th March, April, May, June, July, August. So 6 months will end on 5th of August. Just keep this date in mind. Now in my option 1, approval has been given before this date. So in option 1, I'll check these 2 dates. But in option 2, approval has been given very late. So I'll find out this date. Which date? The date of 6 months. From date of delivery. Now, what is this 6 months in my example? From the date of delivery. In my example, 6 months from the date of delivery is 5th of August 26th. Now, in first scenario, the earliest of 2 dates is date of invoice, which is 5th Feb and 15 June. Why? Because it is before 5th August. So even you can check 5th August. Earliest of these 3 dates. Sorry, I'm just making one mistake. I don't have to see date of dispatch.
Sir, date of removal is date of dispatch, right?
Right.
Here it's saying 6 months from date of removal.
So date of removal, date of dispatch, date of delivery, all are the same. Huh? That is what I'm saying here. See, I have to check these dates. What are the dates? First is the date of invoice. Now, what is the date of invoice? Let us say I'll give you a date of invoice also. 1 second. Let us say invoice is prepared on 25th October 26. Yes. Now, what are the dates that we have to check? One is the date of invoice. Second is the date of approval. And another is 6 months from the date of dispatch. Now, what is this 6 months date from the date of dispatch? So 6 months from date of dispatch. See, dispatch, removal, all means one and the same thing. These are parallel words. Now, what will be this date? This date will be 5th of August 2026 because our removal is on 5th Feb. So 5th Feb, from that you start counting March, April, May, June, July, and August. So it will be 5th of August when 6 months will be completed. Now, What dates we don't have to see while deciding this time of supply? We don't have to see the date on which order is placed. We also don't have to see the date of dispatch. We have to only check 3 dates. One, date of approval, then 6 months, and the date of invoice. Out of these 3, whichever is the earliest will be our answer. Now in first case, out of these 3 dates which are relevant, the earliest is, so what is the first date that you have to see? It is the date of approval, which is 15th of June. Second is the 6 months date, which is 5th of August. Third is 25th October. Out of these 3 dates, the earliest date in option 1 is this. So my time of supply is this. Whereas in option 2, I have to see earliest of 3 dates again, which is the date of approval. Date of approval is 25th of September. 6 months ending is 5th of August. Invoice date is 25th of October. Earliest of these 3 dates in option 2 is this. So my answer is this in case of option 1. My answer is this in case of option 2. Yes. Now tell me, what are your queries? Yes, Nisha.
Sir, in option 1, you said that 6 months from the date of removal. So date means 6 months is not over. It is 15th June. So we took that is 5th
Whichever
August.
is earlier. Whichever is earlier. See, you have to take whichever is earlier, no? So what are the dates? See, what is the law? What are the dates that you have to see? You have to see earliest of 3 dates. Date of invoice, 6 months from the date of delivery or dispatch or removal, and the correct?
Yes, sir.
Now,
But sir, 6 months are not over. So
what, beta? So that is why what is the answer? 6 months are over on 5th August. You gave approval on which date? 15th of June. So automatically answer whichever is earlier is 15th of June. Na? Please understand, when you gave approval, what has happened? See, 6 months is the maximum time limit of giving approval. Please understand this.
okay, sir. So then this answer will be the 5th Feb, because date of invoice we have to see, and date of 6 months from the date of delivery of goods, that is 15th June, and date of approval of sale.
What dates we have to see, beta?
So that is 5th Feb.
Are we going to see 5th Feb in any of the case? 5th Feb is what date? It is the date of removal. Are we going to see better date of removal in any of the cases?
No, sir.
Then don't see 5th Feb. What
We
dates
have
we
to
have to
see
see?
that is date of invoice.
Correct. Which is in my
And
example 25th of October.
yes, sir. And
Then
6 months from the date of delivery of goods.
which is 5th of August.
Yes, sir. And date of approval of sale.
Yes, which is in first option 15th of June, in second option 25th of September.
So, sir, that 6 month, that will be 5th August. This we have to see 25th October and 15th June.
Correct, in first option. You're right.
Yes.
That
And
is
in
why my
second,
answer is 15th June. Yes.
yes. And in second option, that 25th September, 5th August, and 25th October.
Perfect. So that is why the answer is 5th August.
Okay, sir, we have to count that after 6 months, whichever will be the date, that one we have to consider.
Yes, that
And
date.
date of invoice and date of approval.
Perfect.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yes, students. Anybody
Sir,
else?
I can't.
Tell me.
Yes, sir. Sir, I can't understand the date of approval. Approval means the order which is placed, and then the goods are also received. That date of approval is after the goods received. So, what
See,
is the
firstly,
meaning
what is
of
the
date of
scenario? What is
approval,
the
sir?
scenario? We are talking about the scenario where goods are sent on approval basis. Do you understand firstly what is this scenario? Goods are sent on approval basis.
Yes, sir.
What is the scenario? What it covers? It covers those cases where at the time when the goods are sent, the sale is not confirmed because you are going to first receive, you are going to use the goods. If you find the goods, like let us say you order some dress. What do you do after
Okay.
you receive the dress? You'll first try the dress, whether the fitting is proper, whether the pattern, the design, the colors that you had ordered, whether they are as per what you thought in the when you are seeing in the app, whether it is looking good on you. Only after that you will decide to purchase or you will return. Correct, na?
Yes, sir.
Now that is what is said to be goods sent on approval basis. Now, many times when it is a technical goods like some machine, some equipment, so what happens is you first test, you use it. By
Okay.
using it, you test it whether it is working as per your satisfaction. And after it satisfies your satisfaction, you inform the supplier that yes, okay, your goods are as per the satisfaction. I am satisfied. So I'm confirming that yes, I am taking the goods. So you send him a letter, a mail giving your approval. Are you getting the point, Bada?
Yes, sir.
That is what is the
Yes,
meaning
sir.
of approval. Still, if you have not understood, tell me.
Yes, sir. If I am comfortable with that product, then that is the date of approval.
Means you inform.
Or
You put them a mail, you put them a letter informing them that see your goods are proper. I am accepting your goods. I am taking your goods.
okay, but in such case or online purchase case, under online purchase case, this is not mandatory, sir. We are received the goods and we paid the amount. After that
Hmm.
only we are checking that
Still, it
this
is
is
still
comfortable for
if
us.
they allow you to return, then it is on approval basis only. Because see, whenever return is allowed, so you can return and they will refund you the amount.
Okay, but that in that time of return, the date is decided from the delivery of the date. Correct, sir.
See, beta, in case of online, you are hardly given 1 week or 15 days maximum to return, right?
Yes, sir.
So in that, anyways, our this example will not make a big difference because it is hardly 7 days, 15 days. So that is why I have taken example of machinery. But anyways, even if I take your example, so let us say you receive the goods today. Today is 5th of March. You are given 7 days to decide whether you want to keep the goods or you want to return the goods. Now, in case of online purchase, you don't give them any letter saying that I am taking your goods or I am rejecting your goods. Simply by not returning, you give your approval. So they wait for 7 days. If in 7 days you have not put the return, then automatically it is assumed it is approved, right?
Yes, sir.
But I'm not taking example of online here. Why? Because it is very short period. The law has given me 6 months to do approval. When this happens in case of big machineries, where the
Okay.
machine or that equipment is used for some time. You check that equipment. Maybe at times, let us say if it is some chemical, you send the chemical for testing. You see the effects of the chemical in your product, and then you give the person an approval, which may take 2, 3, 4 months. So the law has given you 6 months
Okay, so
time.
so in the way of a direct purchase, we need to mention that when we are comfortable with that product, that
Yeah, so in
machinery.
this case,
That
approval is given
machinery.
by sending a letter or sending a mail saying that yes, I am taking your goods. They are as per my requirement.
Okay. If we are made a part payment for approval, it's possible, sir.
Anyway, see, that depends on your terms. Your terms will say that if you are approving, make me part payment. So if you are making part payment, that itself is approval. So approval can be given in different manner. How approval will be given, that is also decided by your contract.
Okay, sir.
Understood? So approval, see, all this is dependent upon your and your supplier's contract, your understanding with the supplier, right?
Okay, but so in this case, payment will be on partly on advance and the partly after the approval or comfortable with that machinery, that partly payment will be made out after approval. That's
Right.
both cases is uh, applicable, sir.
So, better, that's what I'm saying. It is
Okay,
purely dependent upon your understanding with your
okay,
supplier that whether you'll make
okay,
some advance and then make the balance payment on acceptance or you'll make the full payment on acceptance. So that is between you
okay.
and your
That is
supplier.
not okay. That is not we are discussing in this chapter. We are
Yeah.
focusing on only date.
Yes. So it is purely how you want to do the contract that you and your supplier decides. Correct?
Okay, sir. Understood. Yes, sir. Understood.
Yes, beta. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Great. So students, we'll take a break now. And after the break, we come back and we deal with the other relevant provisions for time of supply. Fine. So 15 minutes break. students? Minu is asking, so before 6 months giving approval, then consider that date. After 6 months approval given, then 6 months date. Yes, correct. So if approval is given after 6 months, so the date on which 6 months ends is to be taken. And if the approval is given within 6 months, then the date of approval is taken. If we are doing payment in advance and after some days we received product, then time of supply will be date of payment. No, beta, see, Akila, I've already mentioned for goods, the payment date is not to be seen. See, I've already put cross, and that is where the advance is out of the picture. So that is what is the purpose of that date of payment not to be considered. So if I have received any advance, let us say I change this example for you. Let us say instead of 15 December, I say this is 15th of Jan. Still, this will never be considered. Why? Because we have already seen here, by way of this notification number 66/17, they have removed the date of payment in this particular section while deciding time of supply. So we are talking about forward charge transaction. Transaction is of supply of goods. They have removed this date. Fine, students. Clear, Akila Bida? Perfect. Great. Let us proceed. Now we go to section 12.3. Now what was 12.2? 12.2 was time of supply forward charge, right? Now 12.3 is time of supply reverse charge transactions. Again, it is supply of goods. Now here there are no different types of transactions. So here, irrespective of the type of transaction, the time of supply is earliest of, right? Now see, what does the law says? Now, what does subsection 3 says? What is time of supply? In case of supplies in respect of which tax is liable to be paid on RCM basis, the time of supply shall be earliest. Date of receipt of goods. Now see, when it was forward charge, it was date of delivery, right? But now since it is reverse charge, you have to pay tax as a recipient. For you, instead of date of delivery, it is date of receipt. Then here the date of payment point is applicable because it has not been removed by that notification. So here this point will be applicable. So the date of payment as entered in the books of accounts, or the date on which payment is debited in the books of accounts, whichever is earlier, and the date immediately following 30 days from the date of issue of invoice or any other document by whatever name called. Out of this, whichever is earlier, that will be the time of supply. Correct? So it is earliest of date of receipt of goods. Then date of payment. Now, how do you decide date of payment? They are saying date of entry of payment past in books. Second, date of debit in bank account. So what is date of payment? Date of payment is earlier of these two dates. Either the date on which which you have passed the entry in your book, and the date on which actually the amount is debited in your bank. And third is, now third, pay attention. What does third date mean? It is the 31st day from date of invoice. Now you will say, sir, how did you get 31st day? So see what it says. The date immediately following 30 days. So following means afterwards. So that is why it is the 31st date, right? 31st date from the date of issue of invoice. So 31st day from date of invoice or any document given by the supplier. Now, earliest of these 4 dates is the time of supply in case of reverse charge transaction. So see. Take one example here so that you'll understand. Now, first we'll read this. The relief of not paying GST at the time of receipt of advance in case of supply of goods is available only when the tax is under forward charge. So this point, which we had crossed in forward charge, I have not crossed in reverse charge. So in reverse charge, this is very much applicable. So you have to also see the date of payment, which was here crossed and removed, as you can see. Because this notification applied only to forward charge, it does not apply to reverse charge. So in case of reverse charge, now the date on which you make the payment is relevant, right? So the relief of not paying GST at the time of receipt of advance in case of supply of goods is available only when tax is payable under forward charge. In case of reverse charge, GST is payable at the time of payment. So if you have made advance, whichever is earlier, by default it will be advance, whichever is earlier. So GST will be payable. Correct? So what are the 3 dates? Date of receiving the goods, date on which you have you have passed the entry of making payment, or the date on which it is debited in your bank account, or the 31st day from the date of invoice. Correct? That will be the time of supply. So here is an example. So supplier invoices goods on reverse charge basis to Bridge & Co. 30 days from the date of issuance of invoice lapses on 3rd June. So 3rd June is the 30 days. How? See, on which date the supplier has prepared the invoice? The supplier has prepared the invoice on 4th of May, right? Now May is of how many days? The May is of 31 days. So this is 27, correct? And then in June, 3 days. This will make it how much? This will make it 30 days. So 30 days is 3rd June, correct? Now, on what date you have received the goods? It is 12th May. On what day you make payment? It is 30th May. So earliest of the dates, 12th May. Second example, supplier invoices the goods on reverse charge, again 4th May. 30 days is ending on 3rd of June. Now here, you receive the goods on 12th June and the payment is made on 3rd July. Now 30 days ends on 3rd June. We want which date? We want 31st day. So 31st day will be 4th of June. So here our relevant date, first date is 4th of June, 12th of June, 3rd of July. Now out of this, whichever is earlier, which date will be the answer? The date will be the 31st day. Correct? Am I clear, students? So let us say I take another example over here. example. You purchase raw cotton from farmer. Now this is supply of goods and this is under reverse charge, right? Now in this particular case, the important dates are date of farmer's document. Now I am saying document because farmer is unregistered, so he will not prepare any invoice. It is 5th of Feb 26. Date of receipt of cotton is 20th March 26. Date of payment. Now here I'll just twist this. So part payment was advance, which was done on 1st Feb. So I add some details. Amount rupees 2 lakhs. So this is the amount of invoice, which is 2 lakhs. 1st Feb, part payment, what was required is rupees 50,000. And the balance payment is done on 4th of April 26. Now, while deciding time of supply, now here payment is relevant. I will divide this example into two parts. Part advance payment and then balance payment. Correct? This is 50K. This is 1.5 lakhs. Correct? Now, TOS is earliest of. First date is the 31st day from date of invoice or document. Second is goods received. Correct? Third is payment made. Now, let us count the 30 days. So 5th of Feb to 28th Feb, right? How many days are these? 28 minus 5 is 23 days. So for 30 days, it will be which date in March? So I need more 7 days. So 7th March. Correct? So this makes it 30 days, right? So 30 days ends on 7th of March. I will take 31st. So it will be 8th March. Now, when are the goods received in my example? The goods are received on 20th March. When is the payment made? For first part advance payment, it was on 1st Feb, right? And when is the balance payment made? It was on 4th April. 50K and then 1.5 lakhs, right? Now, what is the time of supply? The time of supply is earliest of these dates. In first case, earliest is 1st Feb. In this second case, earliest is 8th March. So, TOS for rupees 50,000 GST payable on 1st Feb for rupees 1,50,000 GST payable on 4th April. Students, did you understand this? Is this clear to all? So when advance to be considered, then this type of example becomes relevant when part payment paid in advance and part is paid afterwards. Yes, Nisha.
So this example is clear, but I want to confirm that date of payment that you have taught, that date of entry of payment passed in the book and date of debit in bank account. So, relate this by this example, if any example.
I'll give you an example.
Because whichever is earlier, we will take of this.
Correct. I'll give you example.
Please explain with us. Okay,
I'll give
sir.
you example. Okay. So, one more example. Purchase of raw silk. Correct. Date of invoice 14 Feb 26. Invoice or document, whatever the supplier gives, because the supplier may be unregistered. Then receipt of silk. Receipt of silk in your office, in your premises is, let us say, 5th March. Or let us say 15th March. Okay. Now, see what is date of making payment and what is debit in bank. So again, look at it from the accounting perspective. You issued check, right? And this check is cleared. Now, when it is cleared, it will be debited to your bank. Now, on which date you have issued check for the payment? So you have issued check for the payment on, let us say, firstly, let me make this 25th, right? February 14, 14, 16, 17. Okay. So let us say 15th March, you give the check. We call it as issue of check. We have done this in BRS, right? Now, you have issued this check, and this check, you give it to that person, you pass the entry in your books, correct? Na? That is where BRS comes, because there is a difference between date of issue of check and date of clearance of check. The date on which the check is cleared is the date in which the bank will debit your bank account, correct? Now, what is this date? Let us say because of some holiday or some reasons, this is coming as 20th of March 26. Take it, beta. Now, we have to see time of supply. So for time of supply, we need one date, which is 31st day from invoice. Now again, we count this 31st day. So first is 14th Feb. Then this ends on 28th of Feb. So there is 14 days here. Then March, 16 days, correct? To make it 30 days. When this 16 days will end, it will end on 16th of March. So this date is my 17th March, right? Now, whichever is earlier, correct? So this date is not relevant. You have to see 17th March, 25th March, 15th March, 20th March. Now, firstly, for date of payment, we have to take whichever is earlier. So obviously, again, this is out of picture because this is later. And then out of these three dates, my time of supply is the date on which I pass entry in my books. Correct? Clear, students? Understood by all? Anybody, any questions or doubts? Yes, beta Karan. In subsection 2, because the notification which I mentioned, notification number 66/2017, this is issued only for section 12, subsection 2. It is not covering any other subsection of 12. So for all other subsections of 12, advance payment is applicable. You will see the date of advance. Yes, Harshal, in this case, the date of payment is the date of issue of check. I'll give you another example where this can be different or vice versa. Now, many times you make online payment. So let us say today is Saturday and I have to urgently make online payment. So what I do is I make online payment today. So today is which? Today is Thursday. So Friday, Saturday. So let us say I have made online payment on, okay, not right here, I'll write it separately. So firstly, this is your time of supply in this case. Now, next example. In this example, I'm only writing the date of payment point, right? Date of payment point. Now, you make online payment because the supplier is asking you to make online payment first. Today is Saturday evening. When you reach home, you make online payment. Now, let us say this date is 7th, right? Because 7th will be our Saturday. Today is Thursday, so 7th will be Saturday. Now, since your office is closed, no entries passed in your books, you go to office, let us say on Monday, Tuesday. So on 10th of March, you pass entry in your books. Because 7th you made payment, which is online, so automatically debit to bank happened online, right? So bank has debited on the same date, but on that day your office was closed because it was Saturday, it was some holiday. So whenever you go to office, you pass the journal entry in your books. So it is a different date. In this case, whichever is earlier or which date will be considered as date of payment, it is this date. Correct? Clear, students, the importance of this? Everybody? TOS is not 7th March, Akila, because I have not given here other details. So in this example, I have only tried to explain you because somebody will say, sir, how it will happen that bank will pass entry first and I'm passing entry later. So the practical scenario is this. So just to give you the possibility of when the bank is first debiting your account and you are passing the entry later, it is this case. But 7th is not TOS because I have not given you other details. When goods are received, when is that invoice received, all those details are not given in this example. So here you will not find TOS, you will only find the date of payment. ठीक है अखिला? Perfect. Great. Yes, Harshal.
सर इस सभी सेक्शन 12 में ऑल एंट्रीज में जो भी डेट है वो अर्ली ही बताएगा मतलब
पूरे टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई, सिर्फ सेक्शन 12 नहीं, पूरे टाइम ऑफ सप्लाई में wherever you are going to read, the answer is whichever is earlier in entire time of supply provisions.
सर लॉजिक क्या है पूछना था.
सिंपल है बेटा, गवर्नमेंट को टैक्स कब चाहिए? whichever is earliest.
ओके
जब
सर.
टैक्स लेने की बात आएगी तो गवर्नमेंट अर्लीस्ट ही लेगा.
ओके सर,
ठीक है,
फाइन सर.
परफेक्ट. Let us proceed now. Now in subsection 3, there is a residuary entry, residuary provision. What it says, where it is not possible to determine time of supply under any of these clauses A, B, C, what we have studied, right? The time of supply shall be the date of entry in the books of accounts of the recipient. So if you are not able to determine time of supply in any of these cases, the time of supply shall be the date on which the entry of receipt of these goods is passed in your books. So here I will write proviso. If boards not available, then TOS is date of passing entry of receipt of goods by recipient. Now what is this? See, when this rule applies or when this point is relevant, this point is relevant where, let us say, for some reasons, the recipient is either not maintaining proper books of accounts. Why? Because the recipient is a small business. So the recipient is not maintaining proper books of accounts. So you may not find the above dates. What is the date? There is no entry passed in the books for payment. There is no entry for date of receiving goods, etc. So in such cases, they are saying where books of accounts are not maintained, or let us say the books of accounts are destroyed by fire or something. In such cases, you will determine the time of supply by seeing the date on which any entry or any document relating to receipt of goods is available. Technically, this proviso, I believe, practically does not have much relevance. I believe this is wrongly worded, because if my books are not available, how you'll find this entry? I believe it should have been worded like this. It is the date of passing of supply of goods by the supplier. So see, your books are not available, hence you are not able to find those above dates. In such cases, what date will be taken? It should be, according to me, the date of entry passed by the supplier. Here they are saying the entry passed by the recipient. Anyways, so as per the provision, what the provision says, I have written. Though I personally do not favor this much, I believe there is some mistake. This should have been very different. But anyways, whatever is the provision, this is what the provision says. The date of passing of entry in the books of the recipient. In short, it is the date of passing of entry of receipt of goods. Now we come to other two cases which are simple. Now what is subsection 5 saying? Subsection 5 says, where it is not possible to determine time of supply under the provisions of subsection 2, subsection 3, subsection 4. So it deals with the cases where, let us say, the person is a tax evader. So in some search or any such action, you have caught that person. Now, when you have caught that person, you may not find any entries or you may not find any records at all, because the person is tax evader, that person is not maintaining any details at all. Now, in such cases, how will you determine the time of supply? So where time of supply is not determinable as per any of the above sections, forward charge, reverse charge, any of the above provisions, the time of supply is not determinable, then it shall be determined by this rule. In case where periodical returns have to be filed, the time of supply will be the date on which such a return is to be filed. So it is the due date of return filing. And in any other case, it is the date on which tax is paid. Correct? So, the TOS cannot be determined under section 12.2, 12.3. I'm not writing 12.4 because, as I have already said, 12.4 has been removed. It is not no more applicable. It is no more part of your law book. Correct? TOS shall be first, where returns are to be filed. Due date of return. In other cases, so you'll say, sir, what are the cases where returns are not required to be filed? So in RCM cases where you are the recipient, you need not file a return. If you are only a recipient and required to pay tax, you need not file a return. Or in case of import of goods. So in these cases, it is the date of payment of tax. So what is the time of supply? In case where it cannot be determined under above cases. So basically this section practically, it is applicable to those cases where the person is a tax evader. So the person has no details at all. The person has not maintained any books, no transactions, nothing. So you do not have the details of his transactions or books. How can you determine his time of supply? So there they have provided two rules where the person is a supplier and required to file return. The time of supply will be the due date of the return. Where the person is not required to file return, now this will happen in case of RCM cases or import of goods cases, because here you don't have to file returns. In such cases, it will be the date of making payment of GST, which will be your time of supply. Correct? Now we come to the next scenario. Now this scenario is interesting. Subsection 6 deals with which case? It deals with the time of supply, to the extent it is related to addition in value of supply by way of interest, late fee, penalty, etc. for delayed payment of consideration. Right? Now what is this? Now let me tell you, when you first read this heading, what as a student you keep in mind? This is time of supply for interest. No, it is time of supply for charges for late payment of consideration. Now this charges may be called as interest, penalty, late fees, anything. What is this point? First understand what this point is. So the point is, let us say, I'll give you an example. Goods supplied on 15th Jan 26 rupees 10 lakhs. Now, we are not talking about time of supply of 10 lakhs. This time of supply of 10 lakhs is already done. So this is the as per your contract. So what your contract said, by when you should make this payment? You should make this payment by 28th of February. So this is the main transaction. We are not concerned with this 10 lakhs time of supply. It is as per the above provision subsection 2. Now, when this subsection 6 is applicable, you were supposed to make payment as per your contract on 20th of Feb. You made payment. When did you make payment? Made late. So when did you make this payment? You made payment on, let us say, 15th of August 26. Now, from here to here is your delay. Now, what does my term says? Terms of contract says there will be penalty rupees 50,000. Now, since you have delayed in making payment, you have to also pay penalty. What is the penalty kept? The penalty kept is rupees 50,000 rupees. Now we are talking about time of supply of this penalty. We are not talking about time of supply of this. This is TOS is done as per 12.2, that is forward charge. This TOS is as per 12.6. Now in this example, it is penalty. In some example, it may be interest at the rate of 2% per annum, whatever. You may decide anything that will be as per your terms of contract. You may take a fixed amount, you may take percentage interest. Now the time of supply is decided by 12.6. What does the time of supply says? The time of supply is date of payment of this interest, penalty, or late fees for late payment of consideration. So firstly, why this late fees is there? Because you were late in making payment of your consideration, because of which they are imposing on you the late fees. Now this late fees, which is imposed on you, this late fee, this penalty, this interest is additional consideration. Now see the language here. What have they said? The time of supply of addition amount, which you get in addition to the value of supply. So value of supply 10 lakhs, that is a different thing. We are not talking about that. We are talking about the additional amount, which you are getting over and above this 10 lakh rupees. And what is this additional amount? It is interest, late fees, penalty, whatever you want to call it. Now let me first clarify, students, this interest is not exempt, because we just completed exemption chapter previous lecture. In exemption chapter, there was an entry of banking and financial services where they said that whenever there is any interest, that would be exempt, but that interest was for loan, advance, deposit, for any of these interest, loan, advance, deposit, whether it is paid by bank to you, or let us say you are paying to the bank, or let us say you are taking this loan, deposit, advance from any personal person and you are paying interest to them. In such cases, this interest is exempt. But our present scenario is neither interest for loan, neither interest for advance, neither interest for deposit. So it is none of this. Neither interest for loan, deposit, advance, none of this. It is interest. Why? Because you have made the payment late. You are supposed to make payment on 20th of Feb. You made the payment late. Now, since you are making the payment late, there is an interest, there is a penalty, whatever it is. But it is neither interest for loan, nor deposit, nor advance. This interest is not exempt. Please understand this. And since this interest is not exempt, hence this particular interest is leviable to tax. When you will study value of supply chapter after this, over there it is given. This interest is to be taxed as a part of original supply. What it means? So original supply is of goods. Let us say the goods is of 5%. So with this interest, this additional payment also as part of good and taxable at 5%. So it will be considered as the original supply value. Now this chapter is talking about the time of supply of this interest. So the time of supply of this interest is the date on which you actually receive this amount, which is addition. This is your time of supply. Is this clear? Is this understood? Yes, students, is this clear? Is this understood? Perfect. Done? Great. Okay. Yes, Nisha.
So that example in which the example that 15th August 2016 that late payment has been made. So this
Correct.
will be the time of supply.
Yes. So in this example, the time of supply will be but it is not the date of late payment. It is the date on which this penalty is paid. So if I'm assuming the penalty is also paid on this same date, because obviously when you're making payment of that consideration at that time only, you're also paying the penalty. The date on which the penalty is paid, that is the date or that is the time of supply. So it is the date of making payment of this penalty or interest is the time of supply. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Sushmita. Beta.
Sir, can you give an example for the advance payment in case of forward charge also? Because there I'm getting a little confused because we are not considering date of payment there, right? So just
Correct.
want an example there.
So, but even if you take any advance, like see in our previous example, T, one second, this is continuous supply. Let me take a regular example. See here. Let us say I've already given here, see date of payment. So let us say I take it as advance. Advance payment, let us say it is 25th of Feb. So earliest of all dates is this, but we don't have to consider it at the date of advance.
Okay.
Because
So
for 12/2 you don't. Yes. So in 12/2 you don't see advance at all.
Okay.
Perfect.
And also, yes, sir. And also there is a proviso for section 12, subsection 2.
But that proviso is again not applicable. Why? Because that proviso is related to advance. See,
Okay.
what is that proviso saying? Where the supplier receives an amount up to 1,000 in excess of the amount. So again, it deals with advance. Since advance is not applicable, this is also not applicable.
Okay, so this advance and not like any extra payment or something that is being made.
Correct. It means, see, when it says in excess of amount indicated, it means advance only. Na? So whatever amount is not indicated, if the payment is made, what they are talking about is the advance.
Okay.
Correct?
Okay, sir.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you.
Fine.
Yes, sir.
So students, we have completed entire section 12. Any questions, please let me know. So Akila is saying, sir, 12.6 in your example, total taxable amount is 10,50,000. Yes. The taxable amount will become 10,50,000. You're right, Beta. As per valuation chapter, the taxable amount is 1050, in which 10 lakhs is of original supply, 50,000 is the additional. Correct? Clear? Okay, students. So that's it for the day. Somebody wants to take a screenshot. So I'm just making it be smaller so that you can take a screenshot. Fine. 1 second. 1 second. You take a screenshot now. First screenshot
Sir,
now.
please show page by page, sir. It is not visible. Very
Okay, so
small.
we'll go page by page. Take this. Right?
Yes, sir.
Second page is this.
Yes, sir.
Correct? Third page.
Yes, sir.
And the last page.
Yes, sir. Done.
Perfect? Okay.
Yes, sir.
That's it all, students, from my side. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good day.
Thank you, sir.
Take care.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Recording stopped.